Hi everybody, it's Dr. Lakeisha. Thank you for joining me on my Facebook Live today. I am just going to take a few minutes and let everybody join in. Remember, today we are continuing our conversation on Menopause Part 2. So I hope everybody's having a wonderful Saturday. I am actually at a family reunion, but I didn't want to leave you guys hanging today, so I'm going to do a quick Part 2 on menopause. Hey Charlotte, thank you for joining. We're just going to wait a few minutes and let a couple more people join, and we're going to talk about Menopause Part 2 today. Remember, please like my page. Please like and share my video today while we're going live, and ask your friends to like my video and share it as well. But don't forget to go and like my fan page. That's facebook.com/Dr. Lakeisha OBGYN. That's Dr. LAKEISHA OBGYN. So please go and like my fan page and follow me so that you'll keep up with the Facebook Lives. Thank you, Maya, for joining today. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I am Dr. Lakeisha, your board-certified obstetrician gynecologist, specializing in helping women who are struggling with life, sexual dysfunction, and self-image. Through my programs, products, and innovative medicine, I help women live purposeful, powerful, and passionate lives. And today we are talking about menopause. Hey Alvin, thanks for joining. Hey Charlotte, thanks for joining. We're continuing our talk about menopause Part 2, but specifically today, low sex drive. So for those of you who are joining for the first time, I'm just going to do a quick recap about what we talked about last Saturday. Remember, we talked about menopause. We talked about the average age of menopause being 51. We talked about menopause being described as when you have clinically gone 12 months without a cycle or menses. So 12 months, no cycle equals menopause. We talked about the perimenopausal phase lasting anywhere from 4 to 8 years. So then we talked about symptoms. We talked about the 7 most common symptoms of menopause. Remember, we talked about irregular cycles, irregular bleeding or irregular menses. We talked about hot flashes. We talked about mood swings and anxiety. We talked about weight gain. We talked about decreased sex drive. We talked about insomnia, and we talked about vaginal dryness. So we talked about 7 most common symptoms of menopause last week, and we also talked about some types of treatments for those symptoms. But today we're going to talk about 2 hormones. We're going to talk about estrogen and testosterone. And I know a lot of people think that testosterone is just a male hormone, but actually females produce testosterone as well. And when we are transitioning into this menopausal phase of our lives, our estrogen and our testosterone levels tend to decline. So with estrogen, when we are in our youth and we have lots of estrogen around, the vaginal tissue tends to be very moist. It tends to be healthy. It tends to be flexible. But when those estrogen levels decline, we tend to start to see vaginal dryness, pain, and irritation. So dryness and irritation and pain in the vaginal area can also be called atrophy. So when we talk about menopause, a lot of women call it the big change. A lot of women dread menopause. And women as a whole, we tend to not look forward to this phase of our life. But today, ladies, I'm going to tell you, let's celebrate menopause. Let's throw out the tampons, throw out the sanitary napkins, and say goodbye to menses, hello to life. Let's look at this transition phase in our life as being a welcoming door to living a very fulfilling life. And specifically, at this phase in our life, a lot of women tend to lose their sexuality. We tend to lose that part of ourselves because of the symptoms of menopause, because we tend to have pain with intercourse, and we tend to put that part of ourselves on a shelf. So what I'm going to recommend to you today, ladies, is seek treatment early. Seek treatment early before you get to that part of your life and you lose that part of yourself. So if you are already perimenopausal, if you're already having hot flashes and starting to skip cycles, go ahead and schedule an appointment with your primary care doctor and talk about your treatment options. Treatment options are going to be different for every single patient, but there are tons of options available for every single patient. So let's seek treatment early. So let's talk about this phase of our life where we tend to put this part of ourselves on a shelf. The most common reason is because you have atrophy. The vaginal tissue gets dry and you tend to have pain. Even with intercourse, you may have burning. You've never experienced that before. You may have irritation. You've never had that before. You may even notice bleeding after intercourse, and you may even have small or large lacerations. Sometimes women even have to have lacerations actually repaired by a physician. So after you've had these symptoms once or twice, you tend to develop an aversion. You tend to develop an aversion for sexual intercourse or relations because it's not enjoyable anymore. And so you tend to just forget about it and put it on the shelf. So there are treatment options for vaginal atrophy. One, you can do estrogen, like we talked about last week. You know, estrogen comes in several different forms. You can do something as simple as a tablet. You can do an implant. You can do a ring. There's a gel. There's a mist. And then you can even do vaginal hormones. So there are tons of options for you to treat these symptoms so you can get back to living a fulfilling life. If you don't want to do hormones, there are medications called long-acting vaginal moisturizers. Now, I'm not talking about KY or Astroglide right now. I'm talking about products made by Refresh. We're talking about long-acting vaginal moisturizers. So these moisturizers you can use once every 3 to 4 days, one applicator at night, and it's going to increase that vaginal moisture that you're missing with a decline of your hormones. So we're talking about long-acting vaginal moisturizers. That's number 2. And then number 3, when you are sexually active, if you're having a vaginal dryness and you're not using hormones, then you definitely want to use Astroglide or KY Jelly. You definitely want to use some form of vaginal lubrication. So now that we've talked about how to treat your symptoms, let's talk about the relationship, ladies. Let's not forget about that part of our life. So number 1, menopause is a very difficult time in our life, especially if you're not understanding what's going on. So how do you think your partner feels when you're having hot flashes, you're having mood swings, and you're constantly saying no, 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 no? So number 1, ladies, is let's sit down and have a talk with our partners. Let's have a very open and honest conversation in a neutral environment with your partner. Let your partner know what you're going through and what you're experiencing so that you both can be on the same page, so that you both can find something that works for the two of you. And so he or she feels that it's not about him, so that they don't feel like, 1, you don't love them anymore, 2, that you don't find them attractive anymore, so that they feel that it's not about them, but it's actually about you. It's about you and something that you're having a difficult time going through right now, so that you maintain a healthy and happy and successful relationship. So number 1 is sit down and talk to your partner when you transition into menopause so they understand what you're going through, especially with the mood swings and the anxiety, because men don't know and they tend to think that, you know, it's about them, that you're mad at them and they really haven't done anything wrong. So let's have an open conversation. And thank you for joining us, Jared. Thank you for joining us, Treva. Number 2 is let's bring back romance. Let's bring back romance. I know a lot of people now are saying date night, but sometimes with our busy lives, we get so busy with meetings and work and job. And before you realize it, it's been 3, 4, 6 months before you've actually been out on a romantic date that one of you all planned that's just for the two of you. So don't forget to bring back the romance. And sometimes romance has to be scheduled. You know, sometimes you just got to schedule a dinner date, a romantic weekend, but bring back romance. Don't forget to schedule. You know, sometimes we get so busy in life that we forget about the person that we love the most. So let's not forget about our partners. Let's make a conscious effort to bring back romance. And on the same note, let's be spontaneous. Let's be spontaneous and let's surprise our partners. Let's surprise our partners and be spontaneous. And then most importantly, sometimes you have to change the environment. A quick 1 or 2 night getaway. I know a lot of people call them staycations now. They don't have to be expensive. They don't have to be far away from home. But let's put in some effort to get away and change the environment so that we can have a healthy relationship. Thank you for joining us, Lakeisha. Thank you for joining me, Jessica. Thank you for joining me, Deb. Guys, I am Dr. Lakeisha, your board-certified OBGYN, and I specialize in helping women who are struggling with life, sexual dysfunction, and self-image. Through my programs, products, and innovative medicine, I help women live purposeful, powerful, and passionate lives. Thank you guys for joining me today. For those of you who are quickly just joining in, we've been talking about menopause, but we've specifically been talking about low sex drive and how to get our sex drive back and vaginal dryness. So quickly, we talked about 3 ways you can treat vaginal dryness. We talked about estrogen, we talked about long-acting vaginal moisturizers, and then we talked about KY and Astroglide. And then at the end, ladies, we talked about ways to get our relationships back on track. Especially my menopausal ladies, though. That's who we're talking to today. So when we start to go through this menopausal phase, we start to have a lot of symptoms. And this is the time where we tend to put a certain part of our relationship on the shelf. So I was just telling my ladies that, one, talk to your partners and have an open conversation about what you're feeling and what you're going through, so they don't feel isolated and feel like this is about them and that for some reason you just push them away. Number two, let's not forget to schedule the romance. Let's bring back date nights. Let's be spontaneous and surprise our partners. And the last thing is, let's change the environment. So this ends my talk on menopause. Next week, we're going to be talking about something new and exciting. I want to thank you all so much for liking my videos over the past couple of weeks and for sharing them. But don't forget to go and like my page at facebook.com/Dr. Lakeisha OBGYN. That's Dr. LAKEISHA OBGYN. Please have your friends join me for our next live stream. I hope you guys have a wonderful Saturday afternoon. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.